Hey, in this video, we are going to talk about the top 10 best TV shows to watch right now, 2023. Before starting the video, please subscribe to our channel. Number 10, Unforgotten, Series 5. Second only to Line of Duty in recent years in terms of consistent excellence within the crime drama genre, the fifth series of Unforgotten was the first without the unfailingly great Nicola Walker as the show's soulful lead detective, but it did not let us down. This time, Sinead Keenan took over as DCI Jesse James and new boss of DI Sunny Khan, Sanjeev Bhaskar, and she was an intriguingly spiky presence from the start, which was understandable considering the opening scene's big reveal on the first day of her new job that her husband had been having an affair, which turned out to be a brilliant masterstroke by writer Chris Lang to ratchet up the tension. Number 9, The Power. We're currently in an era of impossible-to-adapt novels somehow making triumphant transitions to the screen, what with Foundation on Apple and now The Power staking its claim on Prime Video. This take on Naomi Alderman's compelling, complex novel sees teenage girls developing the ability to electrocute people, fundamentally shifting the gender balance across the entire globe. The story taking a global, rather than myopically US-centric approach to the phenomenon. Alderman worked behind the scenes with Sarah Quintrell, Rel Tucker, who ran the show, and Claire Wilson to bring the show to life, weaving together the narrative's assortment of wildly different perspectives. Toni Collette's American politician, Toyi Jumo's Nigerian journalist, Reyes Mitrowicz's London gangster, Hal Bush's messianic orphan, to form a thought-provoking and compelling story of a new world order that pulls no punches in its depiction of any power's corrosive properties. Number 8, Black Mirror. Season 6. For Season 6, Charlie Brooker and the Mirror producers swung firmly into horror territory. Technology still has a part to play. Witness Beyond the Seas astronauts using robo-doubles to interact with families back on Earth, or the Netflix satirizing Joan is Awful, which posits a world where your likeness and personal life can be exploited as an AI-created drama series. But with the Reach chills came the form of serial killer thriller Loch Henry, and particularly the hellish fun of Demon 79, in which Anjana, Vazin's meek shop assistant, is prompted to murder and mayhem in order to save the world from an apocalypse. Number 7, There She Goes. As funny and moving as anything on TV this year, this one-off, hour-long special took the comedy series starring David Tennant and Jessica Hines as parents of a teenage daughter with severe learning disabilities to extraordinary new heights. Tennant and Hines play Simon and Emily Yates, whose situation is closely based on the lives of series creators Sean Pye and Sarah Crawford, while their daughter Rosie, now a teenager, is superbly played by young Mally Lott, with Eden Hayhurst impeccable as Rosie's older brother Ben. The dynamics within this utterly authentic family unit are searingly well observed, with the parents often saying the unsayable about the daily reality of bringing up a teenager with a rare chromosomal disorder. In the end, it's also beautifully cathartic. Number 6, Rain Dogs. At times, Rain Dogs is a tough watch, but it's also, as written by Cash Carraway, author of the memoir Skid Estate, and starring Daisy May Cooper as aspiring writer and single mom Costello, relentlessly funny and surprising. While it deals with the realities of financial hardship with all too rare candor, most of the surprises come courtesy of the character of Selby, Jack Farthing, a rich addicted entitled show-off, who takes the tired trope of the gay best friend and explodes it to startling effect. The weird love/hate relationship between these two vividly drawn characters and their outlandish behavior is so original, the series ends up unlike anything else on TV. Number 5, Happy Valley. Series 3, Sally Wainwright's blisteringly good story of on-the-beat policing in Halifax was already top-tier television by the end of its first 2 series, but this third and final chapter proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that her show is an undisputed masterpiece. Arriving 7 years after the previous series, Wainwright smartly delaying the show's return until Rise Khanna, was old enough to carry more of the dramatic weight. This not only saw Surgeon Catherine Cawood on the verge of retirement, but also brought her long-running conflict with criminal Tommy Lee Royce, a brilliant James Norton, to a head once and for all, prying open the cracks in her relationships with both Ryan and sister Claire, Sylvan Finneran, along the way. Lancashire's performance is nothing short of awe-inspiring, but it's the emotionally real, character-driving writing that brings these characters to life so beautifully, whether in humanizing a monster as he reaches out to his son, or completely subverting established finale norms with a simple, heartfelt conversation held over a kitchen table. Staggeringly good TV. Number 4, Blue Lights. Proof that you should avoid judging a show from its basic concept. This drama might have looked like a fairly by-the-numbers, Belfast set procedural, but proved to be a more sophisticated beast by far. Following 3 new recruits to the police service of Northern Ireland, with a couple of months probation left to go, this artfully wove in its location's complex historical and political elements to create a show as complex and rewarding as it is at times unbearably tense. Blackly comic and occasionally shocking, it gives an authentic taste of frontline police work in a volatile powder keg, where young and hopelessly unprepared rookie officers are forced to learn fast or get eaten alive. Number 3. You? Season 4. If you thought this darkly funny serial killer thriller series couldn't get weirder, you was ready to prove us all wrong. Sending Penn Badgley's Joe to London, where he's aiming to be less murderous, was an inspired move, completely shaking up the formula from a creepy yet compelling stalker into a twisted whodunit amongst London's well-to-do millennial ruling class. All of that opened up delicious new opportunities and introduces a wave of fantastically dreadful new characters. Shout out to Charlotte Ritchie's spiky Kate and Lucas Gage's golden shower-loving Adam. Split in 2 parts upon first streaming to hide the absolutely bonkers mid-season twist, this batch of episodes proved the standout in the show's run to date, making Joe's psychopathic antics more watchable than ever before. Number 2. The Great Season 3. Whenever a show gets canceled, it's tempting to say it fell at either end of an extreme. It's gone too soon, or some version of, well, yeah, that figures. Such was the case of The Great, which Hulu announced it was canceling in late August. The case for any narrative seemed clear. The stars were too big to hold down to a TV show. The show had run out of places to go. The Great could have gone forever. There was more to say. I want it back. But The Great was something of a rarity these days, a show that earned its runtime every time. That means it occupied all of these extremes and none of them. It could have gone on, and I would have been confident in a high degree of quality, or the creative team could have known that was the end and they knew. Season 3 had a ponderous ending for Empress Catherine, Elle Fanning, and her deposed husband Peter, Nicholas Hoult, one that many shows would be eager to earn. And yet, the show could easily have run for a couple more seasons and I would have shown up all the same. The Great was always smarter than it had to be, turning the quandaries and questions about the nature of a good ruler over and over, anchoring them in characters so strong there was seldom a weak note. The Great may have been outkicking its coverage with stars like Hoult and Fanning, but they were also revelations. Each was sharp and funny, grounded in nuance, whether they were playing for crass laughs or punch in the gut. They were surrounded by a cast just as acerbic, but with other varied charms, so while the show felt cohesive, it never felt limited. Season 3 proved the show was never going to settle. There was always a new risk to take, and The Great never let its players shy away from conflict when it made for good TV. And boy, did it make for good TV. When a show gets canceled like this, it can be easy to mourn it too lightly or too heavily, for people to wonder if it's worth catching up on. But The Great was a miracle, a show that was funny and thoughtful in equal measure. It found the right ending, and it could have gone on forever. I want it back. Number 1. Hijack. Hijack is a rare show in that it has both a perfect premise and execution that lives up to an idea that good. From takeoff to landing, the Apple TV Plus show is one of the best thrillers of the year and one of its most entertaining and watchable TV shows. Idris Elba plays a business negotiator named Sam Nelson, who's on a plane that gets hijacked. Beyond its simple log line, the series expands its cast and setting to encompass a few different factions on the ground. There are police and political forces that we follow as they discover the hijacking has occurred and weigh the many ramifications of taking action, as well as Nelson's ex-wife and son, who slowly start to figure into the show's action and mystery. It's exactly the right number of characters to expand Hijack's simple setup, but not so many that it ever threatens to lose its focus. Among the most impressive elements of Hijack is its careful pacing. Episodic excellence is an almost completely lost art on television these days, especially in serialized shows. The streaming era has given rise to shows that take 3 or more episodes to get into their action, or have episodes that go on for 15 or 20 minutes after their logical endpoint just to fill time. Hijack, in this way, is a bright spot in the TV landscape. Across its 7 nearly real-time episodes, Hijack manages to maintain its delicate balance between suspense and action, and giving plenty of cliffhangers that always leave you excited to see what's next. The series also manages to nail the elusive art of stringing the audience along and making them feel just as informed as its characters, but not quite as smart, something only the best thrillers really achieve. As a viewer, you've almost always got the same information that Elba's character does, but it still feels like he's always one step ahead of you and the hijackers. Thrillers used to be the exclusive domain of movies, but Hijack is so good that it makes a compelling case that TV and streaming is the genre's new home. Awesome Doslin, and if you like it, please smash the like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell.